on Community Cooking. We have guest chef Cassandra Bodzak in the kitchen creating a new spin on simple kitchen staples, soup and salad. We're making mushroom quinoa soup and shaved Brussels sprout salad. We're cooking with some of the best chefs from right here in our own community, so grab a seat and get comfortable. We have another great meal for you. This is your Community Cooking. Hi and welcome to Community Cooking. I'm your host Maria Prekeges and I'm excited to have my friend and guest chef Cassandra Bodzak in the house.
Yeah, so happy to be here.
I love it when you're here. We're in our matchy-matchy. Yeah. It's all about bright, healthy, fun, and easy with you.
Yes, absolutely. I think when you make healthy cooking delicious, fun, and easy, then it's a no-brainer. People want to eat healthy. People want to feed their families healthier, but so often it can be so overcomplicated that they just feel like it's totally inaccessible to them. Well,
and ingredients that you're like, where do I get this? And you have to run to 5 stores. Here, Farmer's Market is almost our one-stop shop.
Yeah.
Tell me about the 2 dishes we're going to make and the first one and the ingredients.
Sure. So I live on Brussels sprouts. It's a running joke amongst my friends. And I will always have some roasted or sauteed. I like to just cook them with a little bit of olive oil, some seasonings. And then I thought, why don't I add these on top of my salad? So I started making this salad myself just for me, kind of like experimenting at home. And I just love all the elements of it because I really like the idea of pairing roasted and cooked vegetables with, lettuce and some greens. So we put the Brussels sprouts over our romaine lettuce. And then the green grapes add this beautiful, fresh, sweet, crunch to it. We have some cannellini beans, which are also, high in protein, fiber, keep you full, and some walnuts. And really, it doesn't even need dressing because when you're cooking the Brussels sprouts, there's so much flavor going on that it's just a delicious salad. But I love it because it's not your average salad. Yeah. So often we get into food rut. And we're like, when we think of salad, we're like, well, the only salad I make is that one salad. So this really spices it up. And then same thing with the soup. It's a mushroom quinoa soup, and you can sub in whatever your favorite grain is. And it's kind of a take on, my grandma loves a nice beef barley soup. So I thought, what has kind of that same, rich element that kind of makes you feel like a big hug from someone you love?
I like it. So, and you use a lot of mushroom broth in your cooking.
I love mushroom broth. Mushroom broth is a great cooking hack. If you're cooking your quinoa, your barley, you're cooking any rice, even pasta, you cook it in your mushroom broth instead of just regular water. It just adds a nice level of flavor to it.
Well, and I do a lot of chicken broth with that or vegetable, but I'm all excited to try your mushroom broth. I'm all excited. And Brussels sprouts. Okay, I have to tell everyone, I used to hide them in my milk when I was little because there was no flavor. Love you, Mom, but and now I am obsessed as well.
Well, I don't know about your mom, but my mom used to boil them and call them Martian heads. So I was like, Mom, not exactly doing great PR for the Brussels sprouts over here.
And now the Brussels sprout is back and better than ever, and these are lovely, huge ones.
Yeah, right? I don't know, they're looking ripe this week at the farmer's market.
So let's get started. We went over our ingredients and
let's get going. We'll start chopping these up.
Now I like to take the bum side off, as I like to call it, and then do you quarter it depending on how big they are?
What I like to do is I like to just kind of shave it.
Oh, okay.
Not shave it, it's probably the wrong term for it, but slice it.
Yeah.
So that it's just nice and thin for your salad. And then same thing, I'm just going to chop our romaine quickly.
Okay.
And again, for this, I feel like romaine is the best. It's the easiest lettuce because you just literally slice it.
Yeah, and I like, in all my bite-size everything in my life, I do like bite-size lettuce. I don't like to have to cut my salad.
Yes.
Call me lazy, but I do not like to cut my salad.
I am the same way. If you chop your salad right ahead of time, then you should only need a fork.
Look, you're ahead of me. You might have to help me out with the Brussels sprouts.
Here we go, I will.
So I'm going to go halfway, and then you have a flat chopping surface. It took me 2 to figure that out, but I'm a little slow sometimes, but what the heck?
You know, I love cutting Brussels sprouts. I think it's so therapeutic.
Any vegetable.
Any vegetable.
We're,
Not just Brussels sprouts.
we're soul sisters. I love it. Yeah, it's therapeutic. It's nice, even if you're home by yourself or with someone. And I just have friends over and say, get out of my kitchen, sit. There's an appetizer. Have a glass of wine.
Oh my gosh, yes.
Let
I just
me chop.
put on some music
Yep.
after a long day. I don't even want to talk to anyone.
Well, and that's why people need, I think, to cook more. It's more healthy when you cook at home. Even like you said, if you're by yourself, it's just a lovely thing. And
It really is, and I think it connects you more with your food. Like you start having a relationship with your food.
well, and you have a cookbook just about that.
Yes.
Eat with intention. And both these recipes are from there. And you just put some oil and the Brussels sprouts in the pan. So while that's heating up, tell me about this fabulous cookbook. I was looking at it. It's lovely.
Yes, thank you. So Eat with Intention, it's really, so the first part I like to think of it as a manual for getting back in touch with your body and communicating with your body and figuring out what foods specifically work for you, what foods make you feel your best. Changing your relationship with how you eat. So something like that would be one of the things I recommend people doing is really redoing their kitchen. Like so often we put like these sweet little accents in other areas of our home, but we can lack on our kitchen. Like make the kitchen a place you want to go. You know, make it a happy, it's a sacred space in my opinion, right? It's where you nourish your entire family, or at least just yourself, if you're me, you know? And it's where I really believe the magic happens, in the home. So it's so important for it to be, you know, a place that you want to spend some time in. You want to cut some vegetables in. And yeah, and then it also has 75 different plant-based recipes, and they're all easy and accessible and yummy, things you can get at any supermarket. That's so important to me, is to have it be something that anywhere can get. You don't have to be a professional chef to know how to put this together.
Well, I am the epitome of that statement.
I don't know about that. I think some people might disagree with that.
But
You're pretty
it's
good.
like, I love to cook. I know people don't have time, but you approach eating and cooking and your life with, you know, make it fun. I know we all live busy lives, but you take the time. You know, things like this, maybe a half hour. Our show's only, you know, so long, and you can have a great meal. Don't you just love cooking?
I find it so meditative after a nice long day to just come into the kitchen, to shut everything off, be away from your electronics, no phones, no anything, big in my...
so important.
So nice. And these Brussels sprouts are getting nice and toasted. And I'm just going to add some of my seasoning. So we're going to use a little garlic powder. I like to be heavy-handed with my garlic powder.
Oh, yeah. I'm Greek, so it's good there.
And onion powder.
Which I love that I use more garlic powder than onion powder, but I'm restocking my pantry with some onion powder.
Oh, gosh.
It just adds enough.
Just a little pepper and salt, obviously. Lots of salt. Onion powder is great. I think it's like garlic powder's twin cousin or twin brother.
And they go really well together. So.
They go so well. It's just a little sweetness.
Yeah.
All right. These are looking great.
And now, should I start cutting on some grapes?
Yeah.
How about cutting them in half?
So one of the things I do for this salad is just chop the grapes in half. I just feel like it's easier, like we were talking about before.
Yeah.
You know.
I'm going lengthwise. I hope that's what you do.
That's perfect.
Okay.
It's perfect. This is also a very meditative process.
I know.
Right? When you're cutting grapes, you're like, am I cutting grapes? I'm really cutting grapes.
If we ever, cooked a lot together, we would just sit here and chop all day.
Yep.
Cut and chop.
Chop all day. That's the best
it.
when you have a girlfriend in the kitchen or, you know, family for the holidays and you kind of just catch up while you're chopping vegetables.
Oh, yeah. I tell you, I put people at my bar, my kitchen bar, and it's so interactive.
Oh, I love that. A nice open kitchen.
Well, and that's part of your book, too. I mean, it's reconnecting with not only your food, but people, which that's how my relatives from Greece used to be. Their big thing was to sit around and cook and eat a nice meal.
Well, I think so many times we look back to our relatives or to, you know, European cultures, and we're like, why do they not struggle as much as we do with food, right?
Oh.
And at least in the traditional sense, so to speak, right? And I think a lot of it is because there's so much culture and tradition and ritual around food that even if you are eating something that's decadent, because of the intention and the presence and the consciousness that you're bringing to it, you're eating proper portions. You're not shoveling your food.
Well, that...
You know?
Eating by yourself, yeah.
Or like eating by yourself when you're like, oh, right? It's like you forget you even ate anything. When all of a sudden, like whatever show's on, you're like, did I just really finish that whole bowl?
Yeah.
I don't even remember it.
No, that's so true. So true.
That's like one of my party tricks that I tell people is when you're going to a cocktail party or a gathering and you don't want to just like, you know how sometimes you can have that, you know, you just grab this and you grab that, and all of a sudden you're like, how much did I eat? I don't even feel full. I'm like, focus on people or food, but not both. So you're either with someone talking to them, or you sit down, you make a plate, and then you eat it, and then you get up and you socialize.
Oh, that's a good, because you can just,
because if
any
you're just
time of the
and
year,
grabbing,
any party.
Totally forget it.
That's a great tip. I like it.
Little
See what you'll learn on this show.
Yeah. All right.
So great.
The Brussels sprouts are really great. You've got some grapes ready.
So simple, so easy.
Right? And so we're just going to start, what?
I thought you said stack, so there you go.
We're just going to stack this romaine lettuce on the bottom. Make a nice little bed. And then we're going to put some of our Brussels sprouts on top. And now, if you're a stickler about not wilting your lettuce, you can let your roasted Brussels sprouts cool so it won't wilt your lettuce. I don't mind it at all.
No, and like you said, it doesn't require dressing, so a little bit of the wilting of the lettuce makes it taste more like there's dressing on it.
Yeah, and same thing with we're going to put some walnuts all over it. And these are really great I love using a nut instead of a crouton.
Oh, yeah.
Because it gives you that same crunch, but it's got lots of nutrients for you. It keeps you as a healthy fat.
Good omega-3s in those.
And then, of course, we're going to put our beans on here. Ooh.
That's
some
okay.
Straggler beans.
Looks like my, rogue bean.
Right?
I love these beans, too.
Nice. And I'm just going to top this off with a little turmeric.
Well, I was going to say, what happened to the turmeric? But, and it adds some color.
Yeah, it adds some color. The funny thing is that it doesn't really taste like much, right?
No, but
it's a great adaptogen, so it's so good for you. And so I try to incorporate it in as many things as possible. Like if you're making avocado toast, or you're making a curry, or you're making a soup, you can always throw it in.
Well, it adds color and a little flavor. I've had it in tea with honey and lemon water, and it's weirdly delicious.
Ooh,
and it's supposed to be good for you if you feel like you're getting sick. So I've been told.
That's the best. You know what I love to do when I'm getting sick is slice up some ginger and slice up turmeric root, and then you boil them in some water, and then just put a little raw honey in there.
I love it. And what are we doing with the grapes?
And now we're going to toss the grapes on there.
Just toss them on top?
Yeah, just toss them on top.
Oh, it's so pretty.
Right?
And it smells so good.
It's so fun.
All right.
I'm a big believer in you eat with your eyes first. So I think that's some of the things, sometimes when we're eating by ourselves at home, it's so easy to just like, well, let me just slosh this all together and then like toss it in a bowl. And it really makes a difference, even if it's just you, in the presentation and how you enjoy your food. And I think especially if you're switching over to healthy food, it's too easy. It's too easy to make it all just like messy and, you know, mushy or whatever. It's like take a few minutes and make it look pretty.
I love it. Well, we're 1 of 2 down. Good time to take a break. We will clean up, and when we come back, a little mushroom quinoa soup that you don't want to miss. Don't go anywhere. You're watching Community Cooking.
Alexa, how do you tell if asparagus is still good?
If it's not moldy or slimy, it's okay to eat.
Enable the new skill from Save the Food on your Amazon Alexa and help fight food waste.
Welcome back to Community Cooking. If you're just tuning in, I'm with my friend and guest chef, Cassandra Bodzak. I love your last name.
Thank
it's
you.
The Bodzak. She's in the house. Now, we're doing a twist on soup and salad. We already made our shaved Brussels sprout salad, which I can't wait to taste. And now, can we say mushroom, quinoa, a little soup? I mean, mushrooms.
I love it. I love mushrooms. I think mushrooms are so underutilized and celebrated. I think they add such a nice, rich flavor. And I think especially, with a soup, I like a soup that has a really hearty flavor, that has a good salt balance in there. Yeah. And mushroom naturally gives that. We have the quinoa, which is a perfect protein, as well as giving that filling, carby kind of craving that so much of us have in soup. We threw some kale in there that, is healthy, and it also adds a nice little flavor to it, some green in the mix. And this is just a great warming soup. We're going to start off with some onions and some garlic and just saute them in our pan, and that's going to be the base.
Okay.
For everything. And
so a ton of different kind of mushrooms.
Yes.
I won't go through them all.
We have a whole sampling. I like a whole sampling platter of mushrooms. These are kind of your basic CREMINI, what you usually see at the store. These are my favorite. These MAITAKE right here. They're so yummy. And then ENOKI are the smaller ones that also are really great to just crisp up. But really, whatever you have access to, if you can only get the Baby Bellas or whatever your supermarket has is totally fine. Whatever is at the farmer's market.
These are so good.
Right?
But I will chop them. So, bite-sized pieces for most.
Yeah. So
do you include the stem? Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't.
You can, but you don't have to.
Okay. Sometimes
I don't. So right now, I'm just going to start sauteing in a little olive oil our garlic and onions.
Oh, and look at that. Can you say garlic?
Right. And this is kind of I feel the secret.
The secret?
Right?
Don't tell anyone.
We're going to start, and we're going to, when we're finished chopping the onions, we're going to saute the onions in here with them too.
You mean the mushrooms?
The mushrooms.
Onions. Now this stem.
I'm looking at onions and talking about mushrooms.
That's okay. Now, do you include the stem on this bad boy?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, perfect. Well, and then I can chop them a little bigger because they do shrink down a little when you saute mushrooms.
Absolutely.
And I like hearty.
Oh, absolutely. And I mean, that's the cool thing about making your own soup and at home, right? Is that you get to make all of those little adjustments particular to you.
Well, like you said, whatever mushrooms. Obviously, we love getting everything from the Torrance Farmers Market. Look at these guys they're still growing on their stem. I love it.
I like to find, one of my favorite things to do at the farmer's market is to find something that I've never cooked with before. Just find something that looks weird or outrageous. And
these?
The more mysterious, the better. And then I go up to them and I'm like, okay, tell me about what this thing is and how would you cook with it? And I buy a bunch of it, and I challenge myself to make 3 dishes.
That's awesome. All right, too many? Too little? I just keep chopping.
No, that's perfect.
Okay.
That's perfect.
Oh, they're so yummy. I eat mushrooms just raw all the time. And people are like, there's no nutritional value, but there is.
Oh, my gosh, yes. Mushrooms are great for you. Fungi, in general, has tremendous health properties.
It does, but when you say fungi, it's not so attractive,
not
but
being
it's
its
true.
best PR.
I love it.
I mean, now there's a huge trend in the wellness space for mushroom coffee, mushroom hot cocoa.
Well, and we're using mushroom broth, which I have never cooked with, so I'm excited.
Oh, I can't wait for you to taste it because it's going to step up your cooking to the next level.
I love it.
Mushroom broth, you can put it in so many different things, and it just adds such a beautiful flavor. You know what I even did? This whole bone broth craze. I can drink mushroom broth like that.
Okay, I can actually drink chicken or mushroom broth like that too.
All right, our onions and garlic smell insanely good.
There you go. A
Perfect.
plate of
Thank you
mushies.
so much. Now we're gonna just put our mushies in there.
And I love it because you use the same pan that we did for the Brussels sprouts. So
yes. So I'm all about just minimal dishwashing.
Yes.
Right?
Me too.
As much as we can do in one pan, this whole soup is just going to be in one pan.
That's awesome.
And it's actually good. If you're roasting something like Brussels sprouts or anything like that, where you're just using some garlic, olive oil, some seasonings, you can multi-purpose that pan. It actually helps everything taste better.
I love it. Oh,
amazing.
The dishes are getting emptied. We like it a lot.
I love it. All right. So now, while we have this going, the next step is going to be to add our mushroom broth. So we're going to I'm just going to put a little bit more olive oil and let these mushrooms get just a little bit brown because that's going to add a really nice flavor to them. And then once you if you put your broth in too soon, it kind of stops that process.
Oh, okay.
So, I mean, these already
You
smell
want
good.
them a little brown and aromatic. You want to be able to smell them.
I love it. I mean, I really like when you're cooking garlic, onions, mushrooms for this kind of a thing. You want to be able to see it brown.
Yeah.
You know?
And that's a good point. When you put the broth in, it stops.
Yeah.
So
you want to get as much of that good flavor as possible.
And that's, like I said, a lot of garlic. Woohoo! I love it.
A lot of garlic.
I'm okay.
When in doubt, garlic and salt.
So you do the mushroom broth before the kale?
Yes.
Okay.
So we're going to put the mushroom broth in.
Woo. Sizzle, sizzle, fizzle. Look at that.
There we go. And silence.
Yeah, well, not for long. With us two on set, not for long.
Not for long. And so after this, right now it's just going to simmer. We're going to let it come to a boil. And I'm going to put the kale in right now. And what that's going to do is make the kale really nice and soft.
Because kale, I love my kale, but it's raw. It's hard to digest.
Absolutely. And so cooking kale is always a good idea.
Yeah. And it doesn't lose its nutrients.
No, I mean, as long as you don't like burn it and abuse it, it's great. It's actually better for you because your body knows how to assimilate the nutrients from it when it's better to digest. So breaking it down a little bit by cooking it or by massaging it if you're making it into a salad is actually better for you to absorb all the nutrients.
I love that.
And also adds a nice little pop of green to the soup.
Kale doesn't, even when it gets cooked down, it still is beautifully, it keeps its color.
Yeah, it's gorgeous. So we're going to let that simmer a bit, and you want to, just pay attention, keep stirring it. But I'm going to add a little salt and pepper while it's going.
Always a little salt and pepper.
Always
It is not bad.
Pepper.
Just everything in moderation.
Right.
Which I think your book is so great because you talk about all aspects, and it's like moderation and then just enjoy it.
Yes.
Don't be so obsessed. I, sometimes get protein obsessed. I have to have protein and everything. Well, if you just sit back for a second and relax, you'll get your protein, in your quinoa, even if you're vegetarian.
Absolutely. And not being so attached. I think so much, I think when it comes to wellness and nutrition, we get so attached to, we find one model that we think, oh, I watched so-and-so and she said that she only eats X, Y, and Z, so I need to eat X, Y, and Z, or I'm not doing it right. And that's kind of like a recipe for anxiety and stress and just disaster. Whereas I'm more of like, okay, I really believe that we all in our hearts genuinely know how to eat. Right?
Oh, yeah.
We know.
Yes.
It's like, eat more vegetables, eat things you get at the farmer's market, don't buy as much packaged stuff. Like, it's not really brain surgery.
No.
And then if you just, get into a relationship with yourself where you're asking yourself, hey, am I genuinely craving protein right now? Or am I telling myself that I need protein?
not slept for 2 days and I'm just craving protein or sugar.
Right?
Now, do we let that simmer for a little bit before the quinoa goes in?
Yeah, so we've pre-cooked our quinoa, right? So we don't need to cook it anymore in the soup. We're kind of just going to add it in at the last moment.
Okay, I gotcha.
Yeah, I just like to pre-cook it because this way it's cooked right.
No, that's a great fact. And quinoa is usually 1 to 2, either a half cup to a water or 1 cup to 2 cups of liquid.
Absolutely.
And you cook this in water. You and I have talked before off camera that a lot of times we cook it in vegetable, mushroom
broth. Absolutely.
So this will be in water because we already have the mushroom broth.
We already have the mushroom broth. There's a lot of great flavors already in here, so we don't need to, necessarily. But absolutely, you can cook it in vegetable broth, mushroom broth. If you like beef broth, something like that, adds a nice little flavor to it. And so this is boiling right now. So we're going to add our quinoa.
Oh my gosh, it smells so good.
Yay.
I can't wait.
Oh my gosh.
Look at that. And this too, you could have for a couple days in your fridge, reheat it.
Oh, absolutely.
Great leftovers.
Make it on a Sunday night, just plop it in the fridge so that you have something quick to go to.
Well, and I like soup and salad any time of year.
Me too.
Even when it's warm out, I'm like, there's something about it.
It's just a really nice balance. There's a reason it's such a classic combo.
Yes.
And so now I'm just going to put a little bit of thyme in here.
Okay.
And again, what I like to do with this is put them in whole. And the reason I do that is because if you're someone that doesn't like it, if you like, a lot of people like the flavor but don't like herbs chewing them, right? Then because it's super easy for you to just yank it out. Right?
See, I've stopped putting in things that I don't like.
Well,
so, but like when I do,
love the flavor of thyme.
Yeah.
But I'm someone that can get like a little annoyed. Or rosemary. Oh, love rosemary.
But it's kind of hard to chew sometimes.
Chew those.
That's so funny. I love it.
Practical.
It's, yeah, you have to be practical when you cook. And this recipe and the salad beforehand were both so easy.
They're so easy and they're so delicious. And the greatest part is, you know, whether it's for you or it's for your family, you're making something that, you know, is a little bit different.
All right. Well, good time to go to break. I have my soup bowl ready, and when we come back, my favorite part, well, besides hanging out with this girl, my favorite part, tasting. So don't go anywhere. You're watching Community Cooking. Welcome back to Community Cooking. I'm here with my friend Cassandra Bodzak, and my favorite part, tasting. Look, I even got her a spoon and a fork.
Well,
so
I'm so excited to hear what you think about the mushroom broth.
Okay, then I better do the mushroom quinoa soup. I need a mushroom and some quinoa.
Some mushroom and some quinoa.
A, you would never know that's vegetarian.
Right?
B, the mushrooms, the mushroom broth that you put in, it makes it taste like a beef barley soup without the beef and the, oh my gosh, that's so good. And you know, the onions that are sauteed with the mushrooms just add that extra pow.
I love it.
Oh,
I love it.
yum.
Yes, victory.
Okay, victory number one.
You to mushroom broth.
I love, no, it's yummy. All right.
No pressure, just watching you with eager anticipation.
And this, with the, see, I like hot on cold.
Yeah.
So with that, you don't need a dressing. And then with the beans and the grapes, okay, and it's all good for you. And vegetarian. You don't have to be a vegetarian, by the way, to eat like a vegetarian. I think people get into labels and they freak out.
Absolutely. And I'm always like, forget labels, just listen to your body. And I think if we all listen to our body, we would eat more vegetables, right? It doesn't mean you have to stop eating other things, but your body wants all the nutrients in vegetables and fruit. And that's why all of my recipes are plant-based, because I feel like, you know, so many of us grow up knowing how to make like chicken, mashed potatoes, green beans, like things that, you know, we're familiar with. And I don't know about you, but like my mom didn't know how to make, you know, mushroom quinoa soup. You know, she was just making what her mom made. And
well, and you can get both of these in your great cookbook and meditation and cookbook. Thank you so much for being here. Your recipes were amazing. I really hope you all try this at home. And from the entire crew, Cassandra and myself, thanks for watching. And remember, we really do have some of the best chefs right here in our own community. Thanks again, and we'll see you next time on Community Cooking.
If you'd like a copy of the recipes seen on this show, send us a self-addressed stamped envelope to the Office of Cable and Community Relations. That's 3350 Civic Center Drive, Suite 200 in Torrance, California, 90503. Be sure to note the show number displayed on the screen. And don't forget, you can find all the fresh ingredients used on today's show at the Farmers Market. Visit the one here in Torrance at Wilson Park. That's located at 2200 Crenshaw Boulevard. They're open every Tuesday and Saturday from 8 a.m. until 1 p.m., rain or shine. And if you'd like to be a guest on our show, email us at communitycooking@torranceca.gov and check us out online at youtube.com/TorranceCityCable and like us on Facebook at Community Cooking TV.